Hey guys, this is Metallagamer here, bringing you my review of Killer is Dead, the latest title released by Grasshopper Studios. Some of you may be familiar with the name Suda51. Unfortunately, he is still considered amateur along game directors, but he is a pretty large name along some of the odd Japanese games released in America, but also have their own style that fans of Suda51 and Grasshopper Studios can recognize a mile away. Suda and Grasshopper Studios are known for its titles like Killer is Dead, No More Heroes, Shadows of the Damned, which is a personal favorite, and Lollipop Chainsaw. Suda and Grasshopper Studios have developed a cult following of fans that truly appreciate the style of games that he makes. So now there's a bit of background. Here's my review. Killer is Dead is a third-person action title where you play as Mondo Zappa, an assassin with a robotic arm, great swordsmanship, and a sense of persistence to finish any job he's tasked with. Mondo works for an execution firm properly named Brian Execution Firm, who is run by a cyborg that goes by the name, you guessed it, Brian. The story is pretty cheesy, and so is a lot of the dialogue. And it does seem to become difficult to differentiate between the purposely funny dialogue and the accidentally funny dialogue, whether it's purpose or an accident. I mean, it is still funny, so that is good. The music during conversation also helps the confusion by sometimes creating an awkward tone for certain conversations.
I want you to execute my nightmares.
Execute a nightmare? That's like trying to catch a cloud with your hands.
Boss, was I brought to you by a unicorn? My left arm. Did you?
Mondo, did you get your memories back?
Mondo also seems to have an obsessive-compulsive disorder with saying the phrase, "Killer is dead," before he goes on his murder missions, which is also cheesy, as well as predictable. But damn does it look good and sound freaking awesome.
Killer is dead. Killer is dead. Killer is dead.
The combat, like most games, is the bread and butter of this title, which focuses on a pretty basic combat system, which doesn't by any means introduce anything new or revolutionary to the field of gaming, but it is a solid system that works pretty well. But the spectacle of the combat is there and is as fun to watch as it is to play. There is also a small puzzle aspect of the game, which frankly feels sort of half-assed and tossed in, when you could tell it was a decent focus of the game. Sometimes you have to find an item to open a door or shoot a switch, which in the beginning was a welcome transition between action segments, but eventually became somewhat irritating and repetitious, because the item was always too easy to find, or it was being held by the biggest enemy or behind a huge wave of enemies. Between the main assassination missions, you're left with some side missions that once again can be welcome distractions, but not always. For example, one of the missions you are challenged with keeping enemies off of an elevator you're on to keep it from weighing it down, dragging you to the bottom floor. Your goal is to get to the top floor, and if you have too many enemies on the platform, then it'll drag it down. You're allowed to pull off some really cool combos and fight tons of enemies, which is one of my favorite missions and always allows you to watch the spectacle of the cooler visual combos and allows you to work on your timing using the harder moves. I myself have played this mission multiple times even after getting the highest rating just for the fun of it. Unfortunately, there are other missions that are absolutely horrible. One in particular, you are riding a motorcycle and taking down enemies. You're challenged to take down a certain amount of enemies in a certain time period, and it was terribly difficult. I had to quit trying and went on to new missions. The upgrade system is pretty decent as well. You're awarded points by doing well in combat, finding secrets, doing side missions, including going on dates with a few different women. During these dates, you're awarded points for being a pervert. Yes, once again, I did say you were awarded for being a pervert. You're awarded points in what's called Gigolo mode, where you oogle the date's body parts, including legs, chest, and crotch. When you fill up the meter, you can give them a gift and a chance to sleep with them. If you successfully sleep with your date, you can get unique upgrades you can't get anywhere else, which is cool in a way because they're fairly easy to do, but I always feel kind of pervy afterwards. But for some people, that's okay, and they're into that sort of thing. The AI is nothing special as well. For the most part, the enemies just close in on you until they can attack you, and ranged enemies stay stationary for the most part. And boss battles are fun and make you really think about your attacks, and are very oddly creative, because there's just some interesting boss battles in this title. So overall, Killer is Dead is a very fun title, and again uses Suda51's unique style to create another fun and cheesy Japanese style title with just as many problems as his other titles, but still created an interesting piece of work for his fans to cash in on. With plenty of things to do and plenty of things to keep you distracted, I'll give Killer is Dead a rating of 83 out of 100.